we are officially calling him Two-Wheel Steve.
Well, the latest member is actually walking in the door right now. That's Mr. Wallace.
Oh, okay. We don't have a number for him yet. Okay. Get Barry seated and we'll be ready to go. Barry usually sits over here.
Okay.
Which end the door?
Oh, there's a phone. Sorry, that didn't crack, did it?
No.
Oh, I said that's gonna be bad.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the September meeting of the City of Newbern Redevelopment Commission. And we'll begin by roll call. And as my normal job as Vice Chairman, I'll continue to do the roll call. Again, right? Commissioner Lovick. Commissioner Walker.
Here?
Commissioner Tripp. Commissioner Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner Parham.
Here.
Commissioner Wallace.
Here.
Chair Lee is in Philadelphia. Vice Chair Paragoy is here. And Catrecia Bowman, our Executive Director. Thank goodness she's here. Hallelujah. Also, our ex officio members, Alderman Prill. Here. Alderman Best. And Alderman Royal. We have a quorum established for this meeting.
Is our mayor back there?
Well, we'll recognize him.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Yeah, we know he's here. Okay. Time for you to jump in and play here, Robbie. As always, we want to start the meeting with our guiding principles. And Jabari, we'll start with you.
Vanna White has never looked so wonderful.
Bless your heart.
Number one, past, present, future, equal time.
Number 2, respect others' opinions.
Number 3, listen to build consensus.
Number 4, share accurate information, public perception.
Stay focused and be action-oriented.
Be alive. That's it. Oh, thank you. Be alive. Be
Be
alive.
alive.
Be alive.
Okay, we do want to recognize our esteemed guest this evening, Alderman Prill. We appreciate you being here, and Mayor Odom. Appreciate having you with us this evening. Okay, first item on the agenda will be the public comment period. Remind anyone who wishes to speak this evening that you're limited to 4 minutes. But at this time, we will welcome anyone from the public that would like to speak to the commission to please step forward.
Just really quick, Anspet Bosky, Chairman. I just want to say that this is to Commissioner Wallace. The meeting last week, I thought that was amazing. Love, love, love to see more things like that. The interaction, being where the people were, that got some good feedback. Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Just kudos to you. I think that was the first great step in an amazing, amazing direction. So,
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment this evening? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on in the agenda. Item number 3 is the approval of minutes. You have 2 sets of minutes included in your packet. The first being the special minutes from the special call meeting on July 25th. Has everyone had a chance to review these minutes? And are there any comments, additions need to be made to these minutes?
All right. Hearing no questions, I'll make a motion we approve the minutes from the August 10th regular meeting.
That's July 25th.
Where you put it on the agenda August 10th?
Because we're doing it chronologically.
July 25th.
Special call meeting.
Special call meeting. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further comments, discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's done. Now we go to August 10th minutes. That's our last meeting. Comments? Corrections?
Hearing none, I'll reiterate my initial motion to approve the minutes August 10th.
Okay, we have a motion for the, approve the August 10th
Second.
and a second. Any further conversation about the August 10th minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, got the minutes out of the way. Thank you. And the next item is one of my favorite items I've ever seen on this agenda, and that's the introduction of our new executive director, Catrecia McCoy Bowman. And we're thrilled beyond belief to have her with us. You've been here about 2 weeks now, and she has jumped right into the fire, so to speak, and has worked with, I know she's worked with the housing work group, and we appreciated her attendance and her input, and she is, I think, rapidly gaining a grasp of the vision of the Redevelopment Commission and the vision of the community, and trying to bring them together and mesh them together so that we're all on the same page moving forward. So, welcome, and have I given us a little update on yourself and your background?
Okay. You've got some mind if I stand up? Again, my name is Catrecia McCoy Bowman. I came here via Wilmington area. I worked for the Wilmington Housing Authority for 20-some years. I actually came from a self-sufficiency program and graduated and moved up from a resident to a director. I left the Wilmington Housing Authority and went to the High Point Housing Authority. There I was vice president of asset management, Section 8, and procurement. I left there and went to Broward County and was the deputy executive director there at the Housing Authority for 3 years. Then I said, hey, it's time for me to come back home. Came back to Wilmington in 2018 and worked with FEMA. FEMA deployed me to Louisiana. So I was in Baton Rouge and came back for a minute, took 30 days off. On Sunday night of my 30 days at 12:01, they were calling me to tell me to go to Texas. And that's when I resigned. Because I said, how long? They said 52 weeks. So that was when I resigned. Yes. So I was here doing Florence, and a lot of what I did was on the housing side. It initially started off with, filling out application and putting the information out there for moving people into purchasing trailers and that side as well. I'm so delighted to be here. I did start running. I said, oops, I might need to slow down a little bit because I'm just so excited with the warm welcome I got. I said, I feel like family, and I feel like I already know you, so so what that has done, it has me to push a button for myself, and some of the expectations that I know you guys want to see. So I just have a few things I'm not going to go over. Just wanted to, I hope that I can sit down with each one of you and hear more, get more input from you, so we can continue to move forward. One of the things that we were working on is our brochure and talking points. So when we go out, we want to make sure we're saying the same thing. So, and sharing our timelines and sharing our strategic goals, so we want to make sure we're saying the same thing. So I need some help with that. And I need volunteers at the Month Fest. We have a table. So we're there Saturday. I think we're there Sunday too, but definitely there Saturday. So if anybody want to help me out at Month Fest. The Gas and Eubanks property footing was completed on yesterday. We are waiting for the movers. They have another job in Concord actually, and they will not be able to get back until the 26th. So we are hoping that they will place that property on the 26th so we can move to the next step. The resource, I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys saw the resource and data sheet I sent out. There's some very interesting information, data about health, poverty, education in New Bern. So my prior job was Cape Fear Collective, and I'm only mentioning them because they work throughout the state, and what they do is pull data, whatever data you need. And so I'm thinking pulling that data because it will help us to apply for grants and additional funding. So I just want to thank you for the warm welcome, and I look forward to working and meeting each and every one of you.
Now, when we come in this office, where will you be hiding?
Between Matt and Steph.
Okay. Great. I was hoping that you weren't down in the corner and where all the children fell in, looks like.
Ready, yeah. That would be sad.
And questions? Any of y'all have questions for Catrecia? As I say, she is a very, very welcome addition to New Bern and especially to the Redevelopment Commission. Okay, moving on. Agenda item number 5 is a presentation by Mr. Vincent Thompson. Is Mr. Thompson here? He was supposed to be here to do a presentation about his desire to purchase 3 home sites on First Avenue and Second Avenue. And conversations have been held with him and Teresa, I know, and he was informed, but I don't see him. So we will move past that agenda item. Okay. Item number 6. Consider adopting a resolution authorizing the Vice Chairman to sign the authorization for property access with WithersRavenal Incorporated on behalf of the Commission. Matt, you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So this involves the Duffy Field Stormwater Enhancement Project, which is the project that's been now ongoing for a while. And phase 1 is almost complete with the construction of the detention basin at the end of Biddle Street and Rose Street and F Street, K Street, so phases 2 and 3 are being designed and are almost finished, and the engineers need to access all of the properties that are in that section of the project. And you own several of those, I think about 7 or 8 or 10 separate properties. And so they just need an official document that says they are authorized to access your properties in order to do their last bit of basically site confirming information.
Any questions for Matt about that? Does everybody understand what we're dealing with here? We're not giving the property away yet, but they need access to do contour work and surveying and so forth to finalize their plans. All we're doing is giving them permission to be on that property.
On our property, right?
On our property.
Okay.
Just on our property, that's all we can deal with.
Yeah, what's that name again? Withers what?
Ravenal.
Ravenal.
Yeah. For those of you who attended the meeting at the American Center last week, Matt did a detailed presentation on that project and did a good job, and I think a lot of people had a vision of what we're getting involved in there.
If you need, we have the boards right in the corner of the room.
They're always here.
I can show you what properties in general. It doesn't specify which ones are the
Well, no, we just want to make sure we're still on
Redevelopment Commission.
Yeah, no, other properties. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to adopt the resolution?
Yes, we
So
do.
moved.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Second? You
Do I need to say second?
You need to say second.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions concerning this motion to provide access to the engineers to our property involved in the stormwater project? Hearing none, we'll do the voting. All in favor of passing the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will have a resolution signed.
Thank you very much.
And item number 7 is our working group reports. And we'll start with the housing work group. Steve, you want to start? Well, let's start with Beth on the Eubanks house.
Let's start with me because that was interesting information that the house will be placed on the new foundation on the 26th, so that's when they'll start that work.
Yes.
That's great. We did not have any bidders submit bids when we had our bid process, and I have talked to a couple of different ones who were plan holders, as well as Walt Haglund with he's our grant connection person who put together a set of drawings. And we've decided, we think the best way to move forward is to rebid this project, and we're only going to give it till September 28th, I think is a Wednesday. It's like 2 weeks. And I feel pretty confident that one of the bidders who was unable to get his bid in time will be bidding the project. And Deasia and I were making a plan to reach out to some other local bidders that we know have bid projects before, again, and just send them the information. We're going to send them the whole set of construction documents and hopefully widen that field a little bit. We are at the place, since this will be our 3rd advertisement, that if we only receive one bid, we can open it and then negotiate with that bidder.
Okay.
You say you can open it?
We can.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Now, we have the 27th because we're waiting on the, what are we waiting on for the 27th? You say that
The
was,
26th, is they're going to set the house down on the foundation. Is that what you're referring to?
right, oh, it's the 26th?
Yes.
And that's for the availability of the ones who moved it there.
Yes.
So did we have the discussion that since we're waiting on them now, that we're not paying for the rental fees or whatever they're charging us for the equipment that they left behind that they started charging us for?
Well, one of the first things when we contacted them was, are we going to have their check ready? So in reference to that, they pretty much said they waited for us, now we're waiting for them. So it may need to go to another level for discussion.
Okay, we can talk about, but we're okay with paying them for the time that we delayed, but now that we're waiting on them, we're not gonna pay for the rental or the fees that they're charging for us not having their equipment, them having access to their equipment.
In the last 48 hours, there have been several pieces of equipment and pieces of materials that have been dropped off on that lot. And I've not been up on the lot personally to see if they're secure or not, but I did notice a stack of cinder blocks that were put in one area, some other materials that were placed in another area, and we just need to kind of make sure there's not going to be anything more attractive in that area that will draw attention other than new toys to be able to play with as it relates to kids that are in that area and get bored. We have not had any issues since Mr. Williams made sure that the property was secure and that the house was boarded up. But now that there's going to be some more activity, I think it needs to be monitored a little bit closer.
Yeah. Well noted. Okay. The other thing that the housing work group talked about at the last meeting, we discussed, we met before the closing, but the Carter properties on Bloomfield Street are now owned by us. Is that correct, Ann?
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chair.
So we are now the owners of 9, 10, and 9, 14. Okay.
Did someone go by and check, make sure? I think we talked about items that were on the property. Were we gonna clean that or did he clean it up?
No, that's ours.
Ours, okay.
Ours.
Okay,
Yeah,
then I was thinking-
we'll talk about that. In fact, Steve, if you want.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to let Mr. Fairboy get through the rest of that update. As a part of going to close with that, we kind of went ahead and started the process of figuring out what would be entailed in cleaning that up.
Right.
And we went through the quote process, and I think it came back with Public Works being the better option on that. So
Okay.
it's my understanding that because there's not a property there, it'll be kind of quick and easy. We just need to authorize the spending of the funds to clean that up. So based on the quotes that we received, looks like a lot 2, so 910 Bloomfield
Yeah.
is a $3,025 charge to clean and remove all the debris. And then lot 3, 914 Bloomfield is $1,300. So if there are no questions or issues, or anyone doesn't have any better ideas of how to clean those lots up, I feel like it would be imperative for us to even though we still got some more planning to do on the project in general,
Yeah.
for us to go ahead and clean that up as soon as possible as a show of our seriousness and respect to the community, and go ahead and clean up since it's ours now. So if there are no questions or anything, I'd make a motion that we'd approve the vice chair to authorize spending $3,025 to clean up 910 Bloomfield and $1,300 to clean up 914 Bloomfield via City of New Bern Public Works.
Have a motion on the floor. For a second?
Second.
And we have a second to the motion. Any?
Probably want to do a roll call.
A roll call? Okay, will do. Any further questions, conversations about the motion to clean up the 2 lots that we've acquired? Okay, let's do a roll call then. Commissioner Morgan?
I'm still awake.
Yes.
Yes, Kim.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland?
Yes.
Commissioner Paragoy? Yes. Commissioner
Juice?
Byron?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay.
I'll sign the authorization to get Public Works to get in action. It'd be great to have that cleaned up.
Yes.
Really will.
Is anything on there we can salvage?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Nothing, okay.
I've been in the garage and I've been in the storage trailer.
Nothing, okay. Okay. Easy to burn it down, right?
Well, I would probably be in jail because in the garage, there's a lot of tires. And if I set that on
man.
fire,
I got you.
we have all kinds of air pollution issues.
Okay.
Vice Chair, if I may, since we're on the cleanup side of things, been doing some follow-up work, and Mr. Williams, I believe Attorney Mosley forwarded you the documentation that we need to officially clean up that mobile home that we have on 2nd Ave. We've gone through the process and approved everything on that. And that's been something that's been bothering me for a long time.
2 years, since the first cleanup.
Yeah, so we've owned that for nearly a year now, and it's embarrassing, the state of that property as it sits there.
Corner of 2nd and L.
2nd and L?
Right there, but across from the church, across from Star Zion.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So
On the right-hand side, coming up.
Sure, it's behind.
There's trailers.
Behind, yeah.
Behind, sorry.
Behind, I'm sorry.
Behind, sorry.
I got you. I got that. I know what you're talking about now, okay.
And that was authorized and approved
Right.
a long time
Shortly after
ago.
the
I was gonna say, I believe Public Works has that for action.
It's on First
It's
Avenue.
it's on First Avenue.
It's on First
Actually
Avenue.
coming up First Avenue. When you get to Elm Lacrosse Street, it's right there on the right-hand side.
721 First Avenue.
Okay.
There is a trailer and there's an actual 2-story building there that We're both authorized to be
That's right.
demolished.
It's on the list.
Right.
It's on the waiting list or whatever for Public Works to take care of that.
Okay.
Do we have any idea of that list?
Yeah.
Of the timeframe?
I was told about a week ago, they said it would be in about a week or two, so soon, real soon, right? Is that what you got?
Yeah, I spoke with the interim director and within the next couple of weeks, is my understanding.
Okay. That'll be another great asset to the community to get that area cleaned up and
Yep.
and the blighted areas improved.
That you all were asking for information regarding the Bloomfield house. And I did get information from an interested party regarding items within that building. Before we take any actions on that, whichever direction we want to go, there's potentially some items in there that could be utilized with the school system, like possibly some papers or school items that can be redistributed. So before we do anything, let's take a look at that before anything's cleared out of there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be on the next calendar
Okay.
agenda. I think it's okay to talk about the 10 lots, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Historically, every meeting, as you remember, I asked about the lots that we requested probably 18 months ago that are owned by the city and the county together. We made a list, if you remember, and prioritized it for those lots to be conveyed to the Redevelopment Commission and to be part of our assemblage of properties for development. And it's happened, or happening, let's put it that way. Marvin, you've been in the middle of that. Do you want to give us an update on that?
Have they gotten in touch with, I think Ms. Mosley probably have a better, but they were approved.
Sure. Mr. Vice Chair, members of the Commission, I am very pleased to report that the county has received your request and they are inclined to convey their interest in 10 properties that you've requested in the redevelopment area to the city, who will subsequently convey the properties to you all. Now, as you will recall, you identified 12 lots. They have agreed to convey 10. There's a delta of 2. So this evening, if you all are so inclined, you might want to whittle down your 12 to 10 so that we can communicate that information to the county attorney's office and move forward with the conveyances that will need to occur. As I understand it, these conveyances will be very similar to previous conveyances to nonprofit organizations, wherein the county will give their interest to the city, subject to certain conditions. Namely, you have to do something productive within a certain window of time. If you fail to do so, then the interest will revert back to those local government entities. So those documents are being prepared, but step 1 in that process is for you to get your list of 12 to 10.
Have they given a time limit on us doing something with the property? Was that?
I don't have that yet.
Don't have that yet, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
If you remember, that list of properties was generated by the housing work group. And what I would propose, because I think there's a time element associated with this.
Yes, sir. The county is very motivated to capitalize on the momentum that you all are gaining. So time is a bit of the essence. So I'd like to be able to communicate those lot numbers to the county as soon as possible so that they can get this request on the next agenda and you can move forward.
But I would, is it possible that the commission could empower the housing work group to prioritize and get that number down to 10 and give it to the city without having to wait till middle of October for the whole commission to meet again?
Yes, sir. What you can do is you can deputize the housing work group to whittle that list down from 12 to 10. They can communicate that information to our office, and if need be, we can ratify that decision officially on the record during the next regular meeting.
So the county is giving you 10, but they didn't designate which 10.
Correct.
Okay, now, okay, okay.
We created the request.
Okay, all right.
And we
We
requested
had,
12.
we had the
Yeah.
discussion during the time, and I indicated to you all that they had only agreed to 10 at that time, and it may be in the notes from that meeting that we said that you had to take 2 off then, and I thought during that meeting that they indicated to that were alternates, but I couldn't mistake.
But we need to revisit that, I mean, in light of all the things that we are doing and so forth, and make sure that that list that was created, like I say, about 18 months ago is still valid, and is still our priorities. And so I would like consideration of what Jamie has said, that we deputize the housing work group to revisit that list and verify the 10 lots that we will submit to the county for transfer to the city and ultimately to the housing work group to be ratified officially at the next commission meeting.
So moved, what Kip just said.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on a process to get the list of 10 lots confirmed and get that information to the city so they can continue their work with the county. Any other comments, questions about the 10 lots? Okay. Voice vote, okay.
Do a roll call.
Roll call, okay. We'll turn it in reverse. I learned this by watching you, Mayor, that you just go from one side to the other, okay? We'll start on the other side and start with the roll call.
I gotta wait to see
Commissioner
what
Powell?
Robbie, I gotta see what Robbie said. That's why you reverse it, yeah.
You may proceed.
Yes,
You may
yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Paragoy votes yes. Commissioner Strickland?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Here, yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Absolutely.
Okay. Motion carries. And I think right now, that's the bulk of
Thompson.
Thompson, okay.
of the meeting,
You was gonna let him finish his.
Okay.
the bulk of the meeting report from the housing work group's last gathering. Steve, Beth, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. The next group, working group, it would be the neighborhood group. Robbie?
Yes, first of all, I wanted to publicly go on record to thank New Bern Parks and Recs and also Public Works, City of New Bern. The property formerly known as the Stanley White property, in the last 30 days, they have gone out, they've cleaned up the rubble, they have manicured it, they have repaved the basketball courts. And it's been getting a lot of usage by the younger kids. Lights are staying on good and decent into the night. And the property itself is well lit. It looks a lot safer and it's being utilized properly. And I'm just glad to see it having some good usage out of it. Now, as it relates to the redevelopment area, that area is both seasonal and situational. And we're going into another season. And when I say situational, it can flood, it can rain, and it's gonna change the landscape of what we're looking at daily. Any kind of progress made over there is gonna make a difference and it's gonna look better. Mr. Williams and I rolled out, we identified a few properties with the overgrown brush. That was 2 months ago. What was overgrown brush then is horrible now. When I say that situational and seasonal, when you start getting a change in the temperature and the atmosphere, there have been more patchwork that has to be done on those one-way roads, the single lane roads over there. There's a lot of patchwork that's going on. So anything is going to be an improvement. We just have to go back now, get with Public Works. I still wanted to do the small victories so that we could deal in optics, but we have a whole nother animal now. The kids are back in school. The trash situation still has not been addressed through the company. It's not getting any better over there with the overgrown brush, with the roads, with the flooding, with the flood mitigation, and we just have to start somewhere. And it looks like that instead of looking for some small victories, we're just gonna have to go all in and just go ahead and just change the landscape of how the redevelopment area is looking to get buy-in. We have to have the buy-in from the community. They're ready. When I speak to them, which is on a daily basis, and I'm not gonna ask for a show of hands of who's ridden or driven down in the area lately. But the only way that you're going to know what's going on is to go through the area so that you can see for yourself what is going on. Whether it be in the middle of the day, at the end of the day, after a rainstorm, you have to go see what is overgrown. You have to go see the kids that are walking home from school. You have to see the danger spots where the kids are not gonna walk because there's so much overgrown brush, and they're out now and they're trying to play as long as they can. We're gonna be entering into, we are gonna participate in daylight savings time this year, aren't we? Okay. It's gonna be getting darker earlier. We do have to protect our children. That is one of my main concerns. There have been some things that have happened that you all probably haven't even heard about as it relates to whether it be missing persons, whether it be children being accosted or not necessarily abducted. But we have to protect our youth. There's a lot of foot traffic through our area, through the redevelopment area. And we have to make it safe. The way that we make it safe is to go in, cut back some of this brush, a lot of that green space on that the city has access to needs to be cut way back. There's a lot of swamp area back there. I came out one morning and there were 2 snakes that had come out from the brush to get the heat from the day off of the side of the roads. The roads that are least traveled are going to be the ones that are going to draw the heat, and the ones that the snakes are going to come out. And these were water moccasins, good size. So we just need to address everything. Everything needs to be addressed. We do have the public buy-in, but it's got to be with optics. We have to show some progress to get the buy-in so that we can have them to come out. We're going to have to restructure what we had originally planned, Mr. Williams. And I know that you've been waiting on me. And the more I ride and the more I look, the more I see. So I do encourage everyone, you have to ride through the area.
With that being said, did you reference a plan that you had been working on with?
We have some areas that have been pinpointed as danger zones that we wanted to address first. We just had to get in concert with Public Works, with Parks and Recs, because what we wanted to do was have boots on the ground along with equipment, along with including the neighbors to be able to come out and go with us to be able to have a clean sweep of the redevelopment area as related to Crawford Street, 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, Elm Street. As we did, it's so much trash and so much overgrown, well, mostly trash. We had talked about putting a couple of dumpsters out on some city lots that the city owns on the corner of 2nd Avenue across from where the big green place is that
The old store.
I don't want to call it, Mr. McGovern owns.
Yeah, the old store.
Okay, the city owns that lot that's not adjacent, but across the street from it. The city owns another lot, but we have to find a way to get this trash off the street also, and to keep it off. As I said, we live in a multi-generational area where you have 6, 7 people in a single family home. And you have grandkids, you have great grandkids. You're having different generations using one recycle bin and one trash can. And when they fill up that trash can, they're gonna start putting the trash in the recycle bin. Then the city's not, well, not the city, the company's not gonna empty it because it's not recyclables. But then it's gonna overflow, it's gonna fall out on the ground, and then we have a mess. So, how do we repair it? How do we fix it? Do we have more pickup days? Do we put dumpsters out? A number of dumpsters, that's gonna be costly. You just can't go give everybody another receptacle. But there has to be a way that we can get some of this trash off the street. That was a question.
All right. Right. And it's one that you have voiced in previous meetings.
Yeah.
And so my question is, you said there was a plan that needs to be revised to accomplish something. When can we expect to hear about a revised plan? Can you
Well,
work with
what I
Mr.
would like is some input. I'm big on partnerships, and I need some other eyes. I have a particular eye because I ride down those streets every single day. That's why I'm inviting the commission and the citizens and the board to ride. You have to go down and see it. With just me and Mr. Williams on the neighborhood committee, we need some other eyes. We need some other ideas. I would like some other input.
Who else? I mean,
You all left me. Everybody left me with the neighborhood group. And I do see one of our neighbors, one of the friends of the community, as we call him. If I would not be out of order, I think he has an idea, Mr. Cherry, right behind him.
Dutchfield, Phoenix project, they're planning a cleanup. The exact date I don't know, but I know it's in October, so it's gonna be coming up pretty soon. So during that time, maybe some of the stuff could get picked up.
I think if we could get a few of the different groups, what's the name of the group that you're? The People's Assembly.
That's it.
And that's what I'm talking about in terms of partnerships. If we can get the Phoenix group, the People's Assembly, and get some of the groups in the community and in the neighborhood, and then touch some of the churches, some of the fraternities and sororities. I know your fraternity, I mean, very, very big in community service. And if we can work in partnership, then I think we can get a lot more done. But as I said, Kim, and I just asked for a few more eyes and a few more ideas. And I hope I'm not out of line, Mr. Williams.
Oh, no, sir, I think, great discussion, but one of the discussions that we had was, as you mentioned, about the bigger dumpsters placed out there. I mean, if the Redevelopment Commission wants to consider funding something like that, because it costs money to put those dumpsters out there, looking at you all's budget, if that's something you all want to do for a temporary fix, because the city did put more trash cans in the area. I mean, I know that's a Band-Aid, but it helps, and I don't know how effective that has been. And if those aren't being maintained properly, I mean, obviously that would be a discussion I can speak with the city, but most of the things you're talking about is GFL trash pickup. So that's basically where you all will be right now from my standpoint.
And we would have to get input and buy-in from the community also, because that would change the way that they take care of their garbage and their refuse a little differently also, because it's not going to be any use of having a dumpster out there if nobody's taking their trash and utilizing it. So we have to make sure of that. We have to get the word out, whether and I'm not trying to get into business of supplying trash bags to everybody, but just have the requirement, hey, as long as it's bagged up, take it and dump it. We don't want people just going and dumping trash cans in the bin, because then you're gonna have another problem with rodents, birds, dogs, cats, and everything else. But as long as it's bagged up properly, thrown in the receptacle, in the bin or whatever, I just need some more eyes.
Were you gonna answer? I didn't want to answer.
No.
Oh, okay, I thought you was answering that. What is the city's process for that little truck that comes around with the arm that goes out and picks up trash? Like if you clean the yard up and you put it out there?
Yeah, that's cool.
That's your once a week pickup.
Yeah, for the yard waste.
Yard waste.
So they don't pick up just regular trash?
No, that's just for yard waste.
It's just yard waste.
And so when people move and they pile it all out in front of the yard, it disappears somehow. Who gets that? Who comes and picks that up?
They do have days where they have, you can schedule some of the bigger items, but if someone leaves that, then a lot of times it goes back into like the abatement type stuff where if we have to clean up stuff that you should have cleaned up yourself, it goes on the abatement side, and whoever the homeowner is or whatever will be responsible for repaying the city for that.
Because I'm just thinking outside the box. You know, a lot, when the community forum that I was in, or you were there, a lot of our community members kind of want to invest in themselves. So if we can halfway with, like Robbie's saying, is to have that truck or that program come around specified weeks and days, then maybe that would be a starting point, again, so we can expedite getting that stuff up out of here. Just thinking outside the box.
That's I like the idea, but I think some of the problem, and correct me if I'm wrong, some of the problem is not the big stuff.
It's the little
It's the little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob said, how do you fix that? I think the big thing is for this group, other groups combine, and then start showing the effort, like you said, of keeping things clean, then try to get some buy-in. If that don't happen, you're never going to keep it clean. You got to get the buy-in from the people that live there. So if we set the example, it might start, but I think one of the problems that we had here in the past, on a whole lot of things happen, we started, but we're not consistent. And when you're not consistent, people get lax, get lazy, and they don't start doing things. So if we're consistent in keeping these little things going, you know, once a month we do something, once a month we do something, it could probably help. But, you know, you're right, with more eyes, but you got to bring, and you got all these groups in town,
Yeah.
Everybody just come together one time.
Case in point, the first cleanup that we had maybe 60 employees, 20 on each avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they walked and they started picking up trash. And before we got halfway up the street,
Yeah.
neighbors were coming out.
That's what I'm
There
talking
you
And
go.
they were
Right.
coming out and they were cleaning up their
Yeah.
own section because we weren't going into people's yards.
Right, exactly.
They saw us
Yeah.
and they came out and they started maintaining their own.
Right.
You had spoken to a couple of guys there that even said, hey, you know what, for the next couple of months, we're gonna cut
We
all
got
the
it.
elderly
Right.
We got it.
grass
Yeah, that's what we
free.
got to do.
And you know what, it was the community buy-in at that time.
Right.
But as you said, we had to keep it going,
Gotta
and all of a sudden,
There
it
you
got
go.
back away from us
That's
again.
right. Yeah, that's gonna be the thing. Be consistent if we start something. Got to be.
But they are willing, and they have shown willingness to be able to, and they just want different also, and they want better. And we do
Right.
feel like sometimes that we've been neglected. Having to accept the term blighted was not easy. It's not easy, and it's not a pretty word.
Yeah.
But that area is blighted.
Yeah, but one thing I will say, Robbie, is, like I said, the city's willing to assist where we can, but the expectation can't be that we do something in that community we wouldn't do in another community.
I
So
understand.
the thought that we would bring boom trucks over there and we wouldn't do it over in another community because they will question, like, hey, there's other places that have big pieces of furniture that they want the city to come pick up, which we don't. So I mean, I'm all about supporting the community, but within reason. I mean, I know the thought is that things in the past weren't equal in the eyes of a lot of people, but now what we're trying to work with is like, hey, like you're saying, the community jumps in, we're willing to jump in and do what we can.
Well, the city has not had a very good reputation in the past of being fair. And then once you see the big trucks from the company, and when you see them go dump trash out, and then almost a third of the can is left there on the street, and you don't see the drivers getting out, and the first question they ask, well, on some of their other routes in some of the other parts of town, are they getting out? Are they picking that trash up, because over in the redevelopment area, there's trash over there, you know what, it's not gonna hurt anything. And I have yet to see a driver get out of his vehicle. Also, you can ride down those streets, and I don't know if they have those release valves, but one of the most offensive smells is from a garbage truck, and it's almost like you can see the line of where garbage juice just goes down the street for miles and miles and miles, and it's almost like they have a release valve that when they get into that area, they release the juice. And I have pictures on my phone on several different streets in the redevelopment area, and it causes a stench. It can rain, you can go pour Dawn on it, you can do what you want to, but when you come out in front of your home, whether you're renting or owning, there is a stench, it is offensive, and you know, it's just getting away from us.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you know, it's just so much, but we've got to start somewhere, and we got to start it now.
Yeah, and I think you're right, and then what Mr. Holloway said, if they're already organizing something, just get us the date and time, and like I said, we'll be more than happy to provide assistance, and that's a good start.
And what I want to think, you know, and you know, give an answer to that. We got block captain things going in Duffield in certain areas. We got those redevelopment groups that's over there. I mean, we got some, Habitat got a few things that's going on.
Everybody's been helping.
Right,
Everybody joined in together.
But we're
and helped.
splintered though. We need to come on one accord. We're splinter groups. We need to get either the heads of those groups to activate their groups,
I agree.
you know,
I agree.
instead of trying to do a small group here, a small group there. We have to be more cohesive, and there's strength in numbers.
But Robbie, let me tell you something. I agree with what you say.
Yeah.
And we at Habitat have tried that. Well, what's your answer?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry, I've been itching to say something. He's right about the cleanup. There's a lot of us that work on it. I believe inviting the city in would be perfect because Robbie's right. People want to take care of their own. People want something different. I think there's a piece we're missing that has to do with Public Works too. From talking to Avery Smith, doing one of those tours with all of our groups together, because that's something we've been working on, bringing all these community groups together, right? One of the things that came up from Avery was that Public Works also has to give education, and that even the trash plays a part in the mitigation, and they would even be willing to partner, right? So bringing all those groups together, doing this cleanup, starting this out as the first big cleanup we do together, and continuing that partnership and relationship of working together. One, sets an example. Two, the other thing that it does is we can create a culturally sensitive environment during that lunchtime where these things can be discussed and people can be educated. You asked how do people get their trash picked up. I had to figure that out myself most recently. You actually have to call Public Works, and then they tell you all the stuff you can and can't put out, which, oh my gosh, can be a lot, right? But that's the educational piece. Then they come through. Now, I will say this, Robbie, I agree with you. I ain't never seen no street sweeper go through the field. But these are the things that we can meet in the middle to do. And Julie's for him is right. I wish I would call me and let me help on that. Because I'm working with Duffield Phoenix. That cleanup is something done in partnership with Habitat. Block captains, that is something that all of them are working with people like Terry and Ms. Barber through the People's Assembly, with the Duffield Phoenix group, with Abundant Life. There are a lot of grassroots organizations that are working together, which is the whole Circle of Hope idea, right? It all revolves, I think you're both saying the same thing, and we just need to like get together and move it.
Okay, and the good news in this is that we have Catrecia with us now, who can be a focal point for different groups, meeting and working, starting to coalesce all these groups together and bring them together and accomplish some real things together. Okay, instead of us being trying to do something and this other group trying to do something, this group trying to do something. And you know, that's been one of our pushes for the need for an executive director, because we as a volunteer commission have trouble making all that happen. But now we have a spearhead person to lead some of those organizational challenges that exist within the Redevelopment Commission. And I think that's great. And Robbie, to your point,
to be the point of contact.
Yeah.
If someone needs to bring something to the redevelopment commission or wants our participation, they should go through you, correct?
Right.
Is that correct? Okay. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna tell Robbie, don't feel like you're put upon.
Right.
I mean, I live in a different neighborhood, and we got hydraulic fluid tracks from that garbage man, and he ain't ever gotten out of the truck.
Not once.
In the 10 years that I've watched him. And even out of Carolina Colors, we got streets that are stained with the stuff that comes out of the back of the garbage trucks, all down the streets. So it's not something that's directed to the redevelopment commission area. It is a epidemic amongst that company.
And just let me say this too, I've seen you and Steve more than you've seen me when you all do come over into the redevelopment area. I may not have said anything to you at that particular time because I didn't. But I have seen you, and I didn't want to throw your concentration off or whatever. But I did want to say that I do see you, and my neighbors see you, and thank you. But we all need to come out and do a little better.
And Kip, just to close out, I just wanted to, something Harvey said earlier, and, we always had this, we had it stand the white deliver, we had this, when people question when the city is actually doing something for the blighted areas, and I just say to them, and I say it to them if you put me in contact with them, that sometimes it's not about equality, it's about equity. The city deploys resources where they're most needed. So just because the big trucks and the big booms and all that came over there to really do a job that day on the avenues, and got us back to something. Now it was up to us to keep it going. That's our failure in our community. We'll take care of that. But that's not to say not to have it come again, so we can maybe start over, get a new start, and then make sure that we remove that blighted designation from our community. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like roads.
We had a
The roads just messed up and need to be repaved.
Calendar.
Okay, repave it. But you don't hear 5 points going crazy because roads are being repaved. You just don't see that. So there's no need we shouldn't as a community get to a back and forth like that. We should all be trying to expand and magnify and multiply resources to take care of each and every citizen in the world. So, anytime that comes out, I volunteer to take that phone call for you as a representative from the Redevelopment Commission. And we'll go back and forth with anybody about something like that. We're trying to do good for a community that, not only your team, but historically, has not gotten, I guess, the fair share. Okay?
While you have the audience wrap.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
Thank you.
Like we say at funerals, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. It ain't gonna be 2 minutes. But I'm gonna try to go fast. All right? Probably just did the 45. So, it's a sermon.
I had buy-in.
Yeah, you did have buy-in. All right, this is the New Bern Redevelopment Wellness and Health and Wellness Subcommittee Work Group report. That's what I should say it, right? And I'm going to start with, during my last presentation, we stated some next steps. Just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that a lot of it has already been attained since the last meeting. The partnership agreements between the Redevelopment Commission, North Carolina Central University, Duke University, Creighton County Health Department, and Durham Tribe. We have gotten a consent of agreement from Duke and North Carolina Central University, but I need to work with our council to come up with the MOU moving forward. So not only do they have our signatures, we have theirs. Securing the land deed, I think we took care of that already. That's done. Conduct a meeting with the Mercy Clinic and RCS to secure additional partnerships. Done. Conduct a meeting with the New Bern Board of Aldermen to finalize the decision whether to renovate or to build from ground up. We discussed that last meeting and we came up with a solution there. Conduct community forum with the residents to update the community of our future plan. We completed 2, August 11th with the Governor Resident Council and then August 6th. As Ms. Antoinette so eloquently described earlier, where we had members from the Phoenix Group, Delafield Residents Council, People's Assembly, and other concerned citizens, as well as representatives from the city and some of our very own, not enough for a quorum, but from the Redevelopment Commission. All right, Kip was there as well, and we couldn't miss him. All right, so going over our partners have expanded. It's actually doubled. We have Dr. Fisher and Scott Harrelson from Creighton County Health Department. That's the administrative piece. Amber Tamburini, Craven County Health Department, that's Workforce Development. Jansen Jones, Craven County Health Department, Diabetes Specialist. Dr. Livingston of North Carolina Central. Dr. Earl and Wanda Boone from Tri-Durham, Duke. Barb Crickmar and Jordan Pierce from the Mercy Clinic. Zeb Huff from Religious for RCS. New Bern Board of Aldermen, Pastor Hazel Royal, the Resource Hub is a new addition to our alliance, as well as Mr. Tripp, myself, and Reggie Jones, at-large community member. Again, a quick review of recommended services for the Health and Wellness Center: blood pressure, alcohol, prostate, diabetes, cholesterol, and cancer screenings, blood draws. They will be housed in our area if we can get the specs, once I get to that point, and then transferred over to the health department. Trauma intervention, smoking cessation, addiction intervention, prenatal support, postpartum depression, shuttle, which is unconfirmed, but I don't think that should be a big hurdle. And then dental services from the Smile Mobile, Craven County Health Department during the summer hours while we're there to make sure we take care of our baby's teeth. Preventive services would be cultural intervention, stress, trauma-informed, health promotion, resource advocacy, lecture series, that's 7 vignettes. I have additional information if you would like me to expand on that at the conclusion of this report. Community forums, medical referrals, nutrition. Hopefully we can get ECU's Fresh Start, which is a diabetes meal prep program. That's a satellite that ECU does pro bono. And a community garden, which was proposed by our illustrious community members. They want their garden back. Personnel that is suggested for the site would be a certified nurse, several student nurses, which are required through North Carolina Central and Duke Grant to have 2,000 hour practicum hours. Health department personnel, Mercy Clinic personnel. These two are unsecured, but from my understanding, it should be seamless. Craven Community College EMT interns need a place, all right, to practice their art with the supervisor. Craven County Schools nurse aides do things like that all the time. Social worker, that shouldn't be a problem getting them there once or twice a week. Certified doctor, which is unsecured, and what we haven't thought about, which is the next phase of this when we start trying to do grant planning, is the site manager. The head nurse can't run our site, all right, so we need to be thinking about that ahead of time. When I got to dropping this off, Marvin told me, Mr. Wallace, I need a copy. He said, okay, I'm going to get it to you. Okay, so Mr. Vice Chair, here's my building specifications, and I will give you a copy of this at the conclusion of this meeting. 35 square foot building, which has already been approved by the Board of Aldermen. 2 exam rooms will be enclosed in that building, 2 offices, a break room / kitchen. Secure rooms, all right, or a secure room, which so we can house files, medical supplies and other things, etc. A classroom, multi-purpose room, maybe those two can be put together, all right. A waiting area, lobby for the patients, minimum of 18 parking spaces. Mr. Hatter, remind me to talk to y'all about this. Mr. Hatter is still interested in selling that's additional parking. I need to tell y'all that.
Okay, he gave you the price yet?
No.
If we're gonna talk about property acquisitions, I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Just seen it before I came here.
Okay.
All right. We need a 53-foot sewer line for the Smile Mobile and the mobile crisis unit. So when they're housed over there, they have hookup. Okay. We need 11-foot electrical line for the Smile Mobile and the mobile crisis unit. And then medical lab that will be probably in the rear or inaccessible to the patients in the center. During the Health and Wellness Planning Committee meeting, which took place on August 12th, all the participants verbally accepted, and y'all, I'm going to forego that term of partnership. I'm going to say we entered into an alliance. This is long-term partnerships are sometimes short-serving, but this is long-term. This center's not going anywhere, so we want to make sure we continue to matriculate those agreements and those partnerships and formulate those into an alliance. Discuss specs for the Health and Wellness Center, which I will submit to you at the conclusion of this meeting. Discuss programmatic and service aspects of the Health and Wellness Center, and also accept suggestions for additional partners, mainly Craven Community College, Craven County Schools, and East Carolina University. We held a community town hall, which was on September 6, 2022, which conformed of the Duffield Residents Council, Phoenix Group, People's Assembly, and many others. We had a presentation from our very own Mr. Shelley on the Duffield Stormwater Project. Was well received. I think that's the first time I ever saw him nervous. But he did a great job presenting. Presentation on the proposed Health and Wellness Center, pretty much what I'm giving you right now. We gained a consensus on do what you need to do. If we're going to get this Health and Wellness Center in the McCoy House, if it has to go, it has to go. They had questions. Could you move it? Could we do something different? And this and that. I said time is of the essence. So they can live with, all right, the removal of the Sam McCoy House. and question and answer with presenters and city leaders. During that open forum, a lot of questions was asked because they had people, all right, in the meeting that can answer the questions. So we guaranteed them on our next town hall that we have, hopefully in the next month or two, we will be able to answer those questions because we will have everybody present that can answer the citizens' questions. Next steps. All right, formulate, approve, and secure MOUs from Alliance Partners. And I'll be working with our council to get that done. I may need to ask, I don't know if I do it in this meeting, I don't know if we wait till October, but we're losing time if we wait till October, that either I or this work group needs to be empowered to actually go out and represent the Redevelopment Commission as we secure signatures on these MOUs. All right, so that's just something to think about, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Officially submit specs to the Housing and Development Work Group, which we're having at the conclusion of this meeting. Evaluate the securement of additional land for additional parking, and I put the person, I'm not gonna say his name because that was, okay. Secure acceptance for additional partners, which is the ones I mentioned earlier. Finalize housing plan for interns and satellite personnel. That will be in my next report, okay? Because if they're coming from Central, that's a 2-hour drive, they can't go back and forth. So we need to see, does grant pay for that, or was that something else we need to think about? And our next meeting is proposed. I still haven't got all thumbs up for this, but September 23rd, 2022, just in case any of you want to join. That's it. Went through it fast. All right.
Well, that was a lot.
Trying to talk fast. Is that 2 minutes faster?
I saw you in action at that meeting. You said talk
Where your
fast.
meeting gonna be on September 20th?
It's on via Zoom. If you give me your email address, I'll let you.
Okay.
We can get you to it.
Okay.
Hey, questions for Tamara?
Good work.
Thank you both.
A lot of work has
A lot of work.
been
Good
done.
work.
And we will, I think your meeting I think you promised in 2 months at the last meeting that we would have things to answer questions about what's going on. And so within the next 2 months, we have a lot of work to do to firm up plans and designs and so forth like that. And if you remember from our last several gatherings that when we get some idea about the programming of the building, then Beth has agreed to begin doing some conceptual work on the design of the building.
Yes.
So that, and so that's a short period of time, but there are certain things that we need to feel very, very comfortable about before we go out and make a commitment to do something. Such as dealing with the McCoy house. We don't know which way we're going to go with that.
Right.
So but we need to understand all the consequences and have commitment to what we are going to do before we publicly proclaim it to the residents in the community.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for any of the work groups? Okay. The next item on the agenda is to set a date for our strategic planning review and update. We've talked about it for a while now and have never come to a conclusion, but we have to do it to get Catrecia started in the right direction. She needs to feel comfortable with our vision of what we want to do, what we want to accomplish, and what our priorities are. And that's, if you remember the first strategic planning meeting we had, I think we did some good work on that. And we need to look at what we've done, and we need to set future goals and visions so that Catrecia will have a better understanding of where we are and what we're all about. So we want to discuss 2 things. Time of day, Saturday, a week evening, like we have here, a special call meeting where we would do that, or a Saturday morning or something like that. Probably a limit of 3 to 4 hours for that process to unfold like we did last time. So from a timing perspective, let's have a little bit of discussion about what the commission would be able to do, because we need as many of the commission members as possible to be here, participate in that process.
We definitely need to have the planning. we need to have the plan and update, not just a review, because I know one big portion of the plan is outdated. I mean, we're way beyond surveys and speeches. Okay, in my particular
Thank
committee,
goodness.
you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so, I mean, that needs to be deleted off and on, away from here, so we definitely need to revamp that plan big time. And y'all got like double the property you had the last time.
Yeah.
It's housing and development, so I suggest Saturday morning. I'm fresh. This, you catch me 3 hours in the afternoon, I can't.
You ain't gonna get much
I
of
can't
it.
do that. Julius, what
How
you
would that
think?
work for you?
Saturday morning?
Get it in, get it over.
Yeah, maybe, how soon you wanna do it?
I think we need to do it within the next, by the end, well, because of time of year, we need to do it before the end of October. So we get about a 6-week period that I think we need to start focusing on, because once you get into November, things just are get really tough to accomplish.
Well, I knew the director wants to finalize the brochure, and I would hate for her to finalize the brochure if we had finalized this school plan, so the quicker the better.
Yeah, can we do it as soon as October 1st?
I'm good on Saturday.
I can.
Robbie?
That's the day after.
October 1st? Yeah, I think I'm free that Saturday.
Yep, I'm free.
I'm free. You free?
Robbie?
DBs come first. Well, I can't.
Oh, Lord.
Work comes first.
This guy.
No, I could pretty much free up and make myself available if I had enough time. The only thing that would take me away is a work obligation.
Right.
How was that? Is that a little bit more
That's fine.
politically correct?
Yeah.
If y'all need someone to record that day, somebody's gonna have to hit the camera on it because I will not be here.
And Mr. Chair, just so we're aware, anytime that you all meet to discuss commission business with 5 or more individuals, that is a meeting. So to do this on October 1st, that would be outside of your regular meeting schedule. So the chair will need to call for a special meeting on that day at a particular time at a particular place. And that notification needs to happen at least 48 hours before.
Okay.
So what you also might want to consider is the meeting going to be in this space or somewhere else, and the time that you would like to have your meeting.
Well, I think we can answer some of those things. I think this works well for a meeting space if it's available on that date. And the other thing that Teresa has been communicating with the lady from North Carolina Central that did the strategic planning with us. And I don't know how far she's gotten along with actual dates, but she seemed to indicate that she was fairly flexible, especially if it was on a weekend.
Okay.
So, we can.
But our director has a little bit of knowledge in strategic plan today.
Do it.
Our new director has, don't you have some background in strategic plan? Guidance? I did my homework too. The job I got, you better when you come to me.
It's a little bit too early. I need to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I think for this gathering, she needs to be a participant and an absorber of the conversation and information rather than focused on leading, because a good facilitator doesn't express their opinions or thoughts or anything.
Right.
So-
But see, again, she's just learning and absorbing. That'd be the perfect position for her. Facilitating and affinitizing our thoughts and getting them in, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I
Shoot
understand
for the
it's too much early. So.
Shoot for October 1st.
Yeah, I thought the
Shoot
first
for
9 o'clock.
October 1st,
Huh?
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
Okay.
9 o'clock.
And let's, just to clarify, the executive director is a city employee, and she gets direction from you all. So as far as you all will still be the main body that will be coordinating, giving her direction, like you all do for us. You all give us direction, and the city takes the action. So when we come together, just make sure that you all understand that she's taking direction from you all and not giving direction.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Now, is direction and guidance and all
I mean, she can give you, I mean, she can participate, but for the most part, just like you all come up with, you want us to move a house. Well, you all decide you want to move a house and you give us direction. Hey, city, can you coordinate moving a house? And yes, we're on it. So the great thing about having her is that you all have a lot of great ideas, and instead of letting the ideals wait for another month before your next meeting, she can put together all your ideas and have those ready, because you're giving her direction of, hey, put this together for us, so.
Oh. Okay, so
It's not
pretty much agreement for 9 to 12 on Saturday, October 1st.
Yes.
That's
Like
good.
that?
Okay.
Okay.
Hey y'all, I just noted, I definitely will not be able to be here that day, so I gotta get somebody recorded.
She said that again.
I just want to, like that, I will be gone that weekend.
Okay, that Friday, will you set it up and I'll hit the button?
Somebody just hit the button,
Just hit the button.
and I can get the note.
All right. Hey, she said it again. So, hey, just let y'all know. We'll be good. All right.
Okay, the last bit of new information.
So, Mr. Chair, just so I'm clear, and so the record is clear, is there a motion to call for a special meeting of the Redevelopment Commission on October 1st, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the Development Services Conference Room?
No,
There's not.
because we have to check with the facilitator to
Yes, sir.
confirm that, so I don't want to go through that process.
Just want to make sure the record's clear.
Yes, okay.
As long as we do it 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All right.
and we got plenty of time to make that happen and
Gotcha.
check that out.
Okay.
Okay, so much for that. Got that taken care of. The
Mr. Thompson.
work groups.
Okay.
Mr. Thompson here?
Yeah.
Mr. Thompson.
Oh, okay. Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Fine, please step forward and
Well, I didn't have, I didn't make a,
Fireboard?
yeah, PowerPoint.
Matt, can you kind of pull the podium out for Mr. Thompson so he can take care of his notes?
So how's everybody doing?
Right.
Good.
My name is William Thompson. I'm a local business owner, and I'm interested in trying to purchase a property over in the Duffield area. I own a piece of property over on Pavey Avenue now, and y'all was talking about the trash cleanup and different things. When I purchased this property that I have on Pavey, as I was doing all the cleaning and stuff, I had a lot of different problems with trying to get the city over there to come pick up all the trash and stuff that I got off of the land. But I wound up getting it taken care of. I did move most of it myself. But as far as the trash goes over in that area, I think that a lot of it is done by passerbys. It's less done by the people that live there. The lots that I'm interested in, they carry a lot of people on the lots. And I think that without anybody owning any of those lots, it gives these people time to loiter and to be on that property without anybody saying anything. So this is just my thought. I mean, I don't know if it's correct or anything. I think that if some people that are interested in doing some building over there get a chance to purchase those lots, then we'll be able to get a little bit more cleaning over there on that side, and as well be able to get some better housing for future people, I guess. I mean, I'm not too much into forcing people out, but I am interested in trying to make people have a better living. And I think that it starts with just showing, you know. A lot of things get changed around just by people seeing other people care, you know. So that's about all we got.
So you got 3 lots you want to buy?
Yes, sir.
512, 513, and 515.
Yes, sir. I'm interested in doing duplex mini homes, I guess. That's what you could say. I'm looking at them for to be about 800 square feet, 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a kitchen. I was looking at trying to have like a little porch area, so that way, you know, people can enjoy their little space. I drive past this property often, and it seems pretty level. The main thing is just trying to get all the trash and debris a couple of weeks ago, I saw somebody had a tent out there. So I was like, dang, somebody sleeping.
Squatters.
So, you know, I think that would make that area, or start to help that area become a lot cleaner. And then, you know, maybe somebody else will come on behind me and just will make that whole little area look a lot better.
Take me to 512 and 513, coming off of Cedar Street.
Cedar Street. All right, if you're coming down Cedar,
If you're coming off Cedar, making a turn on the First Avenue.
making a turn on the First Avenue. All right, if you're coming off of Cedar, you make a turn on First Avenue, you go up, and it'll be, I don't know if, I'm not sure if it's, right behind, the 5 Point store, but it might be a house there, and then it might be 2 empty lots right next to it. And then the 513 is on the back.
Oh, they're all together. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Now,
So I was thinking maybe if we put up some type, well, maybe if I put up some type of fencing or something like that, that'll deter the people from being able to sit up there. And I don't know what other options I can use to be able to try to get those people off of there and get them to go somewhere else. But I think it starts with just cleaning and.
Shelley's gonna bring up a map.
yeah, I know exactly where it is now. See, that's right behind the store.
Yeah.
Behind the
Exactly.
building.
I thought that Trinity, I thought the church owned 513, but we own it.
No, sir.
City,
City and county.
So,
Is that part of the 10?
It can be.
So, in your packet, you might remember a policy that the commission adopted in July. You have 2 policies, one for redevelopment commission-owned properties,
Right.
and another policy for city-county-owned properties that are located within the redevelopment area. This gentleman is coming to you all because this is a city-county joint-owned property, but it happens to be in the redevelopment area. So as we look at our policy, we are at step number, I think, 7, where
Yeah.
Mr. Thompson is coming to give his presentation about what his intended use might be, for you all to ask questions about that use, and then the housing work group will digest that information and make a recommendation about whether you all will ask the Board of Aldermen to initiate the upset bid process,
Right.
so that this gentleman has an opportunity to bid on the property, or you can ask the city and county to convey the property to the redevelopment commission so that you can apply conditions such that, for example, that the property must be used for affordable housing or no junk cars, those types of recommendations. So today, you don't have to do anything in particular other than understand the area that the gentleman is talking about, which I think Mr. Shelley is pulling up. You have an opportunity to ask questions about his intended use so that you can determine to what extent it's compatible with your redevelopment plan, and then reflect upon his presentation so that you can make decisions at your next meeting.
Okay.
do you own any other plots of land in the city of New Bern?
Yes, I have paving, I have Hillmont Road, I also have Highway 55, so I have a couple of pieces of property. Just trying to, right now I'm just trying to gather my pieces, and then.
Do you have anything that you've currently built on or built from the ground up?
No.
The housing that you're talking about putting on these properties, is that going to be stick built on site?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was one of my questions.
Oh,
Can you tell more about the
Like
house?
3-4 times.
And these specific properties that you're requesting, if your intent is to improve housing and build housing to improve people's life and opportunities, would it be equally as advantageous to do that somewhere else in that neighborhood other than these 3 properties?
I don't think so. I think that with what I'm doing, I'll be able to help a lot of the young youth, because there's a lot of guys that walk up and down the street every day that could probably afford to buy these properties, but they think otherwise, and they don't use their money for what they could use it for. Only thing I want to do, I just want to try to save a piece of history, and also be able to help other people. That's all my goal is. The 5 Point store, I don't know if y'all ever go by there, but a lot of loitering goes there. Well, it used to go there, but since they've cut the loitering off at the store, now they just go right behind the building.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
So if you go down the street, you'll see 100 people at the beginning of the street. I look over there, I'm like, God, I need to go ahead and take that so that way I can get those people out of there and I can do something useful with it. Right now it's being used for trash, being used for people to sleep, being used for people to just do whatever the heck they want to do.
I see only a plus with him buying the property and want to build something. I wouldn't take the chance on it, but I see what you want to do, and I see it as being something positive for that neighborhood. But I would be scared to try to do it on a, but I think it's a good idea. Plus the other thing is, you're right, because the other house, the lady that used to live there, she moved out because people were sitting on her stoop. And she was too scared to stay there. So yeah, so your idea would definitely improve the neighborhood.
And they have, I've counted maybe 7 lots that have been cleared, maybe 7 that have been torn down.
Right.
The structures that they have. But there's still a lot of trash, there's still a lot of garbage, there's still a lot
They use it as a sitting spot.
Right.
Sit, drink,
But if we get some people over there with some ownership, it's like I said, it's owned by the city, so nobody really has no say-so over what happens over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the police ever get called there, that's probably the only time that those people are dispersed or move to different places.
You got a good idea.
If we get some ownership over there, then maybe, we could deter some of those people and make that whole block will look 10% cleaner. Because if you go over there right now, I guarantee you there's probably 30 or 40 people standing outside right now.
Here, well, there's an open air market right up the street and around the corner there that we know about.
Okay.
Okay,
So, Mr. Thompson, what do you think of one house per lot?
No, what I was thinking is, I don't know if this is the right term, but I've talked to a couple of the people. I was thinking of single-family home attachments, where the homes are underneath one roof, but they share one roof and they have 2 separate sides.
Duplex.
Oh, duplex, okay, you did say that.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
So a duplex
What about the other side?
on this,
Out here, this side.
On the Second Avenue side.
What is gonna be behind? Single family home or this?
You're talking about on the Second
Well,
Avenue
we
side.
could, right here, there could be 2 here, there could be 2 here, and possibly there could be 2 here.
I don't know if that planning and zoning, we really got to, you all need to check.
yeah, I mean, the
I-
process,
Okay.
as Jamie described it, is
Question and answer.
this now comes back to the housing work group to talk about some of these things like zoning and knowing what Mr. Thompson's plans are, we can have more informed conversation and bring back our recommendation. It's just, understand what the housing work group will bring back as a recommendation for your consideration. But the final say will be coming from the board, firm board action and direction.
and it will include information like zoning in the area and some of the restrictions that might be not evident to you until we let you know that.
And I do agree with Mr. Parham that this is gonna be a positive. Well, it can't be anything else but a positive. To get a different generation of landowners in there. Of course, we are big on home ownership, but if you're a landowner that's putting some property, that's going to erect some affordable housing, that's going to remain affordable housing and remain up to code. Of course, we've dealt with another generation of landlords, so to speak, that have not done a real good job in that particular area that we're familiar with, that we would love to have another generation come in
Well, I think, I don't mean to cut you
Oh, go
off,
ahead.
but I think with the new build, it'll help a lot of things out. A lot of stuff over there was built like in the 1930s, 1940s. So it's about time for
There were a lot of
something,
shotgun houses
something
over there at
different.
one time.
You know, I think that will promote other people to do other things. You know what I mean?
Is this, are you considering it to be rental property, or are you going to sell it?
It's gonna be a rental property.
Rental properties?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question. How long would if it were, if the redevelopment commission asked for it and the redevelopment commission wanted to sell it to Mr. Thompson, then we could impose certain sanctions and certain,
Restrictive covenants.
thank you so much. That's my counsel right there.
But only if the county, if the city and the county agree to
That's
transfer
a
it
long
to us.
process.
So how
before we even
long
get
would
there.
we have that kind of,
Restrictive covenant.
thank you.
The restrictive covenants would run with the land, and generally those types of covenants are until the end of the world, unless you specifically state otherwise.
Okay,
So
thank
for
you.
example, if this gentleman is talking about building homes, one of the conditions could be that he has to begin construction within a certain amount of time. Another condition that we generally see is that the rents have to be offered to low to moderate income people, for example. Those are things that you might want to consider. And if you're thinking about applying restrictive covenants, you might want to elicit that type of information in this discussion.
Thank you.
Well, depending on how that land is sold, I don't see any low income coming out of that. I mean, being real. I mean, if you get a big business or a big builder to come in there and build anything, it's not gonna be for low income people, it's gonna be for the higher end. I'm not saying that I'm overlooking that, but if it's a restriction for that, then that's gonna kind of deter what I'm trying to do, you know what I mean? Yeah, so, I mean, I'm willing to try, but I don't know what it really takes, so.
But you wouldn't have, like, if the restriction was in this amount of time, you would begin building on the low income house. Okay? You wouldn't have a problem doing that, would you? That's not the problem you're saying, right?
I don't think that I have a problem building. I don't think that I have a problem building though.
Okay.
I don't think that. But I don't want to be rushed, you know?
Right, I can understand. I mean, it would be reasonable.
Right.
Do you have other rental properties?
I do. I have a home in Jimmy's Creek that we rent, and I also have a trailer that I rent. I do. Only have 2 right now, but trying to start some more.
And I feel like the restrictive covenants are only put in place to put forth what we have as our goals in the redevelopment commission. They are not to punish, be punitive, or restrict anybody in any freedom. They are only to meet the goals that we've already established. We're not making them up as we go along. They were put into writing as we became the redevelopment commission. So we are trying to ask questions to make sure he fits within our plan. And any restrictive covenants would make sure that the property is developed within the plan that we already have in place.
Any additional questions for Mr. Thompson? Mr. Thompson, again, the process that Attorney Mosley just talked about is that this will now be referred to the Housing Work Group, who will deliberate over your presentation and future, and what our desired use of the property is in accordance with our plan. And we will make a recommendation to the full commission at our October meeting.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Okay. Can I sit through the rest of the meeting?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, get close. Commissioner Wallace,
Yes, sir.
do we need to go into closed session to discuss acquisition of property?
Yes.
So it sounds like the vice chair will entertain a motion pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A, the A5, to go into closed session to discuss the acquisition of real property.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's good.
Carry on.
Hey, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all.